Hello, my name's Anne McElvoy and I'm talking to you from London, from the Evening Standard newspaper where I work, on the video link like Amy Winehouse, because that seems to be the state of communication between London and Manchester. But it's very good to talk to you about languages, because that's one of the things that has really shaped my life since I was at school. I was at St Bede's from 1976 and I studied first French and then German and a bit of classics, and then French and German for A-level, and I then went on to German and philosophy at university. So pretty much all throughout my academic life, my grounding in languages played a part. I wanted to really talk to people who were thinking about their language choices and what it might do for them, because I think there are a number of levels to this question. And quite often people do say to me, what should I do, and should I do languages, and what's the right sort of balance for me? And the simple answer that I can give you is that of all the people I've encountered, and this is many years of working as a foreign correspondent, and then later as an editor and as a political columnist, is I've actually never met anyone who said to me, I really regret taking languages, or taking French or taking German or taking Spanish or doing one language, even if it is one language you want to do. I've met a lot of people who've said that they regretted giving them up, or that they had found them difficult and stopped too early and then thought later it was too difficult to go back to. So I would say when you are faced with choices about languages, it's just a big choice that is there, and it's for your whole life, and you might find that you get rather more out of it than you think when you contemplate the idea of slogging through your French, Spanish, German, whatever homework at the time. The second thing I would say is that although languages get easier, and oddly enough get easier the more you've got of them, which is why people tend to sort of speak hardly any, or after a while you find it quite easy to learn many more, is that they are quite hard. And I think that you know that you're going to have a couple of years when things don't seem to quite add up, and it seems like quite a struggle. But I would just say that that is worth it, because it's laying a grounding that will enable you in the future to learn much faster, and it's actually also very good for training your mind to learn other things. So I wouldn't be put off by that. What have languages done for me? Well, I mean, for a start, they've just given me a confidence really to go anywhere and be more part of the place that I go to on its own terms. You certainly can get around the world with English, and there's plenty of countries I go to where I don't speak the language, but having the infrastructure of knowing about other languages just does make it easier for you to pick up on what's going on around you. And you will just always have a more interesting time if you go to a country where you do speak the language, even if it's only a few words, in terms of getting into conversations with people or meeting people on a level that you won't if you only speak English. And even if it was just to do that, I would still be a huge defender of modern languages. One of the things that I noticed, I first worked as a foreign correspondent in East Germany before the fall of the Berlin Wall, was that it was a very difficult society for people who couldn't travel, because most of them were not allowed to leave the country. And so to be able to go to somewhere like that, armed with their language, is like a secret weapon. You immediately are invited into places you wouldn't otherwise get to go. Just bits of the country will unveil themselves to you. And it doesn't even have to be that exotic. I mean, I feel the same just crossing the Channel to France, or going on holiday to Spain, which is why I strongly encourage my children to do languages from a young age as well. Career-wise, well, there's either the very obvious applications like mine, where you take your languages and you put them in a suitcase and you take them with you and become, at least for 10 years I was a foreign correspondent, basically on the road the whole time. But there's also business increasingly in a globalized world. If you work in business, you're very likely to deal with foreign countries. And yes, a lot of them will speak English, but there is a slight sense that the other party has the upper hand if they speak English and you don't speak any of their language. So again, I would caution against thinking that English is always going to be enough. I think multilingual business is the future, and again, most people that I meet of my own generation say so, and say that if anything they wish they had a few more languages rather than a few less. And there's also just the fun of languages, just being able to watch a film or a concert or listening to rock music in another tongue that isn't your own, and that will always have a strangeness about it, but it's just genuinely interesting thing to do. So, you know, why not, I would say. It isn't always the easy choice, but it's probably one of the most stimulating that you can make, and people will recognize your achievement for doing it. What have I had out of languages? This nice questionnaire sent up says to me, well, I would say, what have I had out of languages? My life has been based largely around languages. It was a great opportunity to have. I'm very pleased that St. Bede's has a language specialism and is keeping up those high standards. You're lucky to have that. It is also a great way of feeling on an equal with other people, whether or not they've been educated. Some of them will have had educational advantages that you haven't had in the private sector, but languages are democratic, languages are equal, and whether you do them to GCSE, to A-level or beyond, everybody can do a bit of languages, and it's well worth it. So good luck and bon chance and veel geluk and bazdralayu. Bye.